Hello, everyone. It's Yolanda here from Pact. So, as Instagram tells everybody to pop on, I'm going to start my conversation now since I know it's taping as of now. So, welcome everyone to Pact. As a lot of you know, we're a global brands platform. And this evening we have a celebration as we added something new to our network. So tonight we have premiered Primetime. Okay, so before I get into that, I'm going to start off who we are. Okay, for those who don't know. So our mission came about at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so we had many Black businesses run by Black women who sought an outlet where they can share their brands and all of that. Hence, the concept was born. It's that simple. So we had guest pitch from practically all over the world. And I'm very proud of that. So we've had people from different parts of the United States, whether from Detroit, whether from Pennsylvania, New York, Brooklyn, New York. We've had people from the UK do special presentations along as pitch their business. We've had people from Africa. So it has been quite exciting to see the different businesses all over the world. But now we're moving the stage, which was on Zoom, into the social media realm. Okay, hence Primetime is born. So businesses reach out to us, or if we're interested, we reach out to specific businesses and we set a schedule to provide a showcase. And the replays are usually on YouTube. Okay. We also have services that are available for an additional paid feature because we also have our network on a podcast level, which is called Black Women Bank. Okay, so and then we have something called First Fridays. You know, if you want to run first Mondays, excuse me, if you want to run your business and we run it, give you a little plug. Okay, so you can follow us further for updates or refer to our bio to sign up to updates. Okay, so now that that is out of the way, okay, and as we wait for our guest to sign on, I'm going to start with reading her bio and to tell you a little bit about who we are talking to today. So just to give everyone a heads up, part of Pitch Pact's brand, if you will, is to allow each guest to pitch for is usually 15 minutes. So in this case with Primetime, the pitch is 10 minutes. So we have our guests, we have particular questions that we went over, and the stage is theirs to do what it is that they do and to tell us about their brand, their product, their business, and all of that good stuff. And part of making this a community is for us to share who this business is, you know, to share and to spread the word. So in this case, we're speaking with Racquel Barnes, Racquel Barnes, who is part of UrbanEdRX. Okay, she and I, is like a little private joke. I was messing up the name for a minute. So we're speaking to Racquel about UrbanEdRX this evening. Okay. So Racquel is the CEO and the founder of UrbanEdRX LLC. and she is a national board certified integrative health coach. Racquel specializes in helping people release limiting beliefs and develop healthy habits while managing stress so they can thrive. She provides wellness based workshops, coaching, retreats, and programs that support the mental and physical and social well being of those who live, work, and serve in urban communities. With over 20 years in the wellness industry, her certifications and training include a BA in health and exercise science, as well as health promotion and fitness management, a master coach trainer, as well as a mastery in advanced transformational coach. Okay. A 200-hour yoga teacher trainer, a trauma conscious yoga teacher, and a mental health first aid, as well as a yoga coach, a team well-being and genius break coach. Okay, Racquel has a lot going on here. And she is also a proud introvert, neurodivergent visionary. She is also a wife and a mother of 3 who loves to read, travel, and try new experiences. Okay, so we are excited to hear from Racquel and to hear more about her business.
Hey,
Queen.
good. I'm over here. I'm all like sweating this camera, trying to get myself together. I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening?
Believe me, it usually happens that way. Like I have other things that I do with the whole social media thing, and it's usually a trial. Um, what button? Make sure you follow, because that's also the key. Because if you don't follow each other, then it doesn't allow you to do this conversation.
Oh my gosh, it's
And you
so
can't
funny.
do it on the desktop. That's the other thing. Everything has to be on the phone. So,
Listen, I was so excited. I was like, "Ooh, I finally saw her," but it didn't work. So thanks to the hubby for he he floated in and helped me out.
we love our hubbies because they come at the right time. Please.
Yes, yes, he literally like just walked through the door.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Here you go. There you go. So wonderful. So within that time, we were able to click off some things. I gave a little intro about Pitch Pact. I was able to give a little intro. I did your bio.
oh, thank you.
So,
There we go. So
so
we're already moving
we
forward.
all good. So we can just go straight to the pitch. Okay. So everyone, here's Racquel. So I want you to tell us about UrbanEdRX.
So UrbanEdRX is an organization that prescribes simple and practical solutions to help organizations that serve urban communities to support their employees and as well as students, like for some schools, to make sure that they are not burning out. Because of course we know that the education field and even some, urban service professionals, things like that, they are burning out quickly, and they need support in order to support our communities, right? If our students need help, when we go to service professionals or if we're at the social service department, right, you're dealing with those employees. And so if those employees aren't well and aren't at their best, then they're not able to best serve their clients and to make sure that people are getting the resources and the services that they need. So that is what UrbanEdRX is here to do, is to make sure that those employees, those leaders in these organizations are able to cultivate a culture of wellness that's going to support the employees so that they can better support their communities.
Wonderful. Now, can you just tell us, like, what are some of the resources you provide for these educators?
Absolutely. So we do coaching. We do one-on-one as well as group coaching, consulting. So some schools and organizations don't have wellness programs, or sometimes they don't even know what wellness resources they already have. So I do consulting for that to make sure that they know what resources are available within the community as well as in their organization. I also couple with I have another organization and a group of other wellness professionals, and we come together. We do retreats, wellness retreats, to make sure that they have all the resources that they need. And then I also do like wellness workshops. So on self-care, talking to them about mindfulness, and not just about like sitting quietly, but I make sure that everything is practical. Like, how do you take these things that we're teaching you about your health, about your mind, about, being more social or connecting to people? How do you make that practical in your everyday life, right? So it's not another thing to do, but that it's something that you can actually infuse into your day.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, why is Urban Ed RX so important and why is it needed, especially in these times with the whole educational situation?
Yes, yes. I mean, there's so many reasons. So I myself used to be an educator, and I was an educator in an urban school district, and I also grew up in an urban school district. So I've been in urban schools all my life, and I've seen the gap. I mean, in general, education is a stressful field, but when we think about urban communities, the resources in those communities are minimal sometimes. The staff are burning out, so people are leaving the field. We don't have enough Black and brown, people that are staying in the field because a lot of people are burning out. They're getting stressed out. And so the community and the students are feeling the brunt of those things. And so UrbanEdRX is really there to help make sure that these people have everything they need, the tools, the support that they need to keep doing the work. And I know even back then, when I was experiencing that burnout and that stress, I wish I had a me back
Right.
then, right? It would have made a difference. And I think the other thing about UrbanEdRX is that we make sure that we provide services through the organizations versus asking people, the individuals, to pay for a lot of our services, so that there's not that financial barrier that they get to receiving services, right? If you're a teacher, or a lot of times the salary that some of these employees are getting, when you're thinking about, okay, am I gonna feed my kids, or am I gonna take care of my house versus paying for a service for myself, a lot of times people will opt to take care of everyone else. So our model is really around getting these organizations to support their employees and providing those resources so that it's an easier yes to say yes to themselves.
Hmm. I love that. Um, and it's funny, even though this isn't really a Q&A because I want you to pop out this picture, but just as you mentioned, a lot of people don't give that care to themselves in terms of how to whatever the wellness situation is. And I don't know if they realize it does affect their job and how they can, project their job to be better, and just to have that whole clarity of doing the best that you can do, but also taking care of self. So this
Yeah.
is definitely a resource that is needed. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
And you have to
So
take care of yourself, right?
you
Because
do.
if you're not at your best, right, when you stand before somebody, they come in front of you and you're aggravated or annoyed because of something that happened prior to, right? Then you're not in your best place to be able to hear them. And then if they're aggravated and annoyed, right, it creates
Hmm.
a recipe for disaster versus having a full cup and being able to really be there for those people that you're serving. And that's really what's important, especially in schools, right? You're dealing with 20, 30 kids at a time, all with different feelings and different situations, circumstances. And especially when we're dealing with urban communities, urban schools, right, there's even more so of that. And so it's really important that people are taking care of themselves so that they have the capacity to actually be able to take care of the students, right? Because if I'm good and I'm whole, then I'm going to have the patience to be able to answer those questions for the 10th time, right?
Of
But
course.
if I'm stressed out, if I'm frustrated, if I'm burnt out, that question is going to feel personal. It's going to feel like an attack. and then I'm going to respond in that way. And so we see that time and time again, like I said, in schools, but also in social service organizations, right? Where people are coming and, you know, these are vulnerable spaces that people are coming in to ask for help. And when the employees aren't at the capacity to be able to hold space for them, then it really, you know, causes people not to want to get the help, right? Or to be throw their hands up, forget it, I don't, you know. So it definitely creates a platform for more people to get the help that they need to make sure that these services are trickling down into our communities. And then that same thing will then ripple out, right? If I'm good, if I'm teaching my students or my clients how to be more mindful, how to breathe, then that then goes home with them, right? You know, it's one thing to teach people about health and things like that, but it also needs to be modeled, right, by the people who are teaching it. So
I love it. I
yeah.
love it. So, okay, so what challenges, if any, have you met as a Black business owner pushing out your brand? Because the whole model sounds superb, right? Like, do you look at your business as a Black business because you are serving a certain community, right? So, what challenges have you met in any aspect of that?
Yeah, so I mean, the challenges are numerous when you think about it. But before I actually branded UrbanEdRX, I branded another company called Fit to You Wellness. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where I started, and same concept. Um, and I was actually going to brand it as, you know, rebrand that company, but I decided just to keep both of them. But for me, UrbanEdRX was really about my heart space, right? You know, Fit to You Wellness serves everyone. But I wanted to be able to start to serve organizations that specifically work with urban communities. And I'd say, you know, in general, as a solopreneur, you know, as a Black woman in this space, I think resources, even for myself, are often, you know, finding those financial resources and things like that to be able to support this. And to make sure that not only am I supporting other people, but then also, you know, it's supporting my own family. So this year was the first year that I really started to open myself up, which is why I'm doing this, right? You know, putting
Right.
myself out there, because before then I was only working like with a select smaller group of people. And then I realized like I've got to, you know, kind of expand and open myself up. And so that's where I'm headed, is to really start to put myself out there, because a lot of people have no idea that UrbanEdRX exists.
Exactly.
So it's really, yeah, you know, and as a solopreneur, right, my first love is coaching, right? In the wellness piece, right? That's who I am. That's my expertise. But as a solopreneur, right, you've got to extend yourself out to all these other areas, right? You now have to be the accountant, and you got to learn how to do the marketing and all of those things. And if anything, I would say that has been the hardest part, right? Because in my heart, I want to just do the work, right? But as a business owner, you have to do all of the things. And so, you know, for me, it's really about learning how to balance all of that, right? And to make sure that those people that need me can find me.
Wonderful. It, you hit so many important things and very delicate things for small businesses, because it is a grind to do it all when you just kind of want to do what your brand is supposed to do, but you really have to do all of those other elements, unfortunately, you know, until things pop off and, you know, you can do the most, you know. So our final question is, what do you want the viewers to know about your brand? Like you mentioned it, but why is it important that they support you? You know, because
Yeah.
once we have this replay out there, when people come upon it, okay, what is this Urban Ed RX? Like, why should they support it? And why is it important for them to support it?
Yeah. So, you know, it's really important, especially, you know, as people are watching this and trying to decide, you know, to push this, you know, and make sure that your employers, right, know that this exists. because so many companies need this type of work, right? There's people that are doing so many different things,
Right.
right? Even within those schools, right? The person doing wellness is often the person that's also doing 10 other things. So wellness often falls to the bottom of the list. And so UrbanEdRX is really in a space to be able to help these organizations to make sure that they're getting the services and the employees are getting the support that they need. And I want to say that it's even more important from it coming from an outside space, right? Because especially even when you're talking about coaching and things like that, you know, I've even had some of my clients tell me like, yeah, it's nice to be able to talk to somebody that's not connected, right, to the organization, because then they can really be vulnerable and open, you know, and have that safe space to talk about everything that they're dealing with, not just, you know, that you want me to be better at my job, but you know, to be able to come into a space and we can talk about, you know, some of their life goals and things like that, recognizing that these employees aren't just that role that they're playing, right? It doesn't matter if you're a leader. It doesn't matter if you are an employee. It doesn't matter if you are one of those clients, right? You within yourself have needs, you know, you have dreams, you have goals, you have desires. And it's really about being able to bring that humanity piece back in and making sure that employees have that space to be able to do that and really at the end of the day, it drives the productivity, right? It makes for healthier employees when we're able to do that. And so UrbanEdRX is really about providing that platform, right? So that companies and organizations don't have to become an expert in it, right? Because you got me, I can come in there and make sure that your employees have everything that they need so that they can soar and thrive and not feel like they're just constantly in survival mode, especially when we're dealing with these urban organizations that are supporting urban communities, right? They need the support. And so UrbanEdRX is in a place to be able to do that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, lady, you made your 10 minutes. You used it very well. And I just want to thank you for being tonight's guest because, as I said in the beginning, tonight was the premiere of Primetime, where we kind of moved our platform over to good old Meta. So, but for those who have joined in on this conversation, help spread the word, you know, about Racquel's business is very important. It's very important that we kind of share hands in spreading the word because there's a lot of phenomenal Black businesses, as I mentioned in the beginning of this, who have been pitched, you know, who have pitched their brand. And it's like, you know, you sit and you're like in amazement, like, wow, why isn't it's like a big notice that a lot of people just don't know about. So this is great. I'm happy you stepped out of your shell
Yes.
to be our first guest on this particular platform, which is wonderful. And tell everybody how they can learn more about you. Give me your
Yes.
website. Can get you, pass them down, sis.
Yes. You can find me everywhere at urbanedrx.com. And all social media is UrbanEdRX. So that's UrbanEdRX. And that's everywhere. And then you can reach me on the website at urbanedrx.com. And my email is hello@urbanedrx.com.
Awesome.
And I
Awesome.
also wanted to say too, that, you know, this company is really focused on a B2B, right? So we're going after those businesses to support those employees. However, we still do things to support the community and things like that. So if you're an individual and you're thinking about this, you know, you can still definitely reach out. But if you know of any organizations that can use this support, especially those organizations and schools that are serving urban communities, then please share this out to them.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Okay, guys, you know what you got to do. And again, what I like about this, like, again, the replays will go to another space where whoever comes upon that, they can see this. And hopefully the idea is to share, you know, it's that whole camaraderie. So if people do what they're supposed to do within that network, you know what I'm saying? And we have to do that. You know,
Yeah.
that's really the only way that we can up our Black community,
Yes,
if you will. You
yes.
know what I'm saying? So it was a pleasure. I'm happy you finally got on, sis.
I
I was
know.
worried. I was worried because I was like, I know if I try to pitch, I'm not going to do a good job because like,
Listen, you
uh,
see the sweat, I was over here sweating bullets. Like, I can't believe of all the times, that this would be the one. But we got
it
there,
happens. It
it
happens,
works
but
out.
it worked out
Yes,
well. So everyone, it was a pleasure. Raquel, we will be in touch because we have other side business
yes,
that we need to talk about.
absolutely.
But it was a pleasure. I want you to enjoy see you can relax now. You did your pitch. You can enjoy the rest of your Saturday, get a glass of wine or whatever, and just like
Right,
chill
and
down.
decompress. Well, thank you so much. I just appreciate that you are providing this platform for small Black-owned businesses, right? Because we need it, like you said, or like I said earlier, right? It's hard when you're the one, right? You're doing all the things. And so, things, platforms like this really provide that space for people to find each other and to find those services that they're looking for. So I definitely appreciate you.
Oh, you're so welcome, Queen. Thank you so much. So you have a wonderful evening, and for everyone that signed on, thank you for the support, and see you on the next pitch. Bye.
Bye.